With the start of training camp about 3 weeks away, I figured that now would be the perfect time to take a look at every player on the San Francisco 49ers roster and how they fit with the team heading into training camp. So far, we've covered the quarterbacks and running backs. Today, let's take a look at the wide receivers. We're going to lead off with Brandon Aiyuk. San Francisco showed how much they believed in Aiyuk when they moved up in the 2020 draft to select him with the 25th pick. The former Arizona State product proved that belief was well founded, putting together one of the best rookie seasons for a wide receiver in team history. Had Aiyuk been able to play the full 16-game schedule, it is very likely that he would have broken Jerry Rice's team record for rookie receiving yards. Aiyuk showed flashes of his playmaking ability early on, but really began to show his ability with a strong string of games during the second half of the season. During a 6-week stretch that began with the victory in New England, Aiyuk would average 7.5 receptions and 94.6 yards per game to establish himself as one of the top rookies in the NFL. Aiyuk is the smoothest route runner on the 49ers, looking more like a veteran than a rookie. It should be no surprise that his strongest stretch of play came in the second half of the year. The NFL game moves much faster than it does in college, and it took him about that long to acclimate. If Aiyuk can stay healthy and build on his rookie campaign, he should be able to challenge for a spot on the Pro Bowl roster in 2021. Next up is Deebo Samuel. Expectations in 2020 ran high for Samuel after a strong rookie season. Those expectations would go unfulfilled, however, as a foot injury while working out prior to training camp and hamstring issues throughout the season would limit Samuel to only 7 games in his sophomore campaign. When Samuel was able to get on the field, he definitely made his presence known. In 2 upset victories over the Los Angeles Rams and another over the New England Patriots, Samuel was arguably the best offensive player. In those 3 games, he carved his way through the opposing defense with 22 receptions for 264 yards and his lone touchdown on the year. Samuel is one of the top weapons on the 49ers offense, and his mere presence on the field creates openings for his teammates due to the amount of attention he demands from the defense. He may not be the most polished of route runners, but his versatility more than makes up for this. On any given play, Samuel can be found running a slant, catching a screen, taking a forward handoff on a jet sweep, or lining up in the backfield. The only question mark to Samuel is his health. He has missed games in both seasons with the 49ers and had injury issues during his time in college at South Carolina as well. If Samuel is able to stay healthy in 2021, the sky is the limit for his production and the 49ers offense. Next, we move to Richie James Jr. Each time that Kyle Shanahan has given an opportunity for James to perform, the 3-year veteran has stepped up. This makes one wonder about the lack of opportunities for James. One possible explanation for the lack of playing time is that at 5'9", he is just too small for what Shanahan is looking for in that third wide receiver role that was held down prior by Kendrick Bourne. At 6'1", Bourne provided a much more physical presence and showed the ability to not only come up with a key reception, but block well in the run game. Despite the lack of size, James has proven to be a threat when given the opportunity and should be in line to make the team in the final year of his rookie contract. Mohamed Sanu. Sanu began the 2020 season in San Francisco playing a total of 40 snaps over the first 3 games before being released as Deebo Samuel was set to return from his injuries. Sanu would eventually join the Detroit Lions for 7 games. With Detroit, Sanu's 11.1 yards per reception would match his productivity from 2016 when he was playing with the Atlanta Falcons under offensive coordinator Kyle Shanahan. With Kendrick Bourne's departure in free agency, the 49ers have a need for a big-bodied third wide receiver, and Sanu fits that role well. It looks as though he could be a really good, viable option. You can tell that he doesn't expect anything to be given to him, and he's trying to earn his spot on the team, offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel said to the media during OTAs. So it is very exciting to see him perform. He was doing very well, and if he comes back to training camp in that same shape, he's going to be a guy that is going to be tough to beat out for that final roster spot. Jauan Jennings. Coming in at 6'3" and 212 pounds, the 2020 7th round draft pick is another size fit for the 49ers. With no organized team activities before training camp last year, Jennings struggled. Eventually, he was left off the roster, but the 49ers were able to bring him back to the practice squad. He was making strides toward being promoted to the active roster before being sidelined for the season with an injury in late October. So far, early reports from OTAs this season have been very positive for Jennings. Look for him to continue to improve throughout the summer and possibly make the final roster due to this, as well as his ability to play on special teams. Next up is Travis Benjamin. Benjamin opted out of playing in 2020 after agreeing to a free agent deal with the 49ers during the offseason. He did play under Kyle Shanahan as a member of the Cleveland Browns in 2014, though, averaging 17.4 yards per reception. Benjamin's explosiveness and ability to return kicks make him an attractive option for the bottom of the depth chart. On the downside, however, Benjamin has played in only 5 games since the 2018 season. Next up is River Cracraft. The Washington State product joined the 49ers in late August and spent most of the first half of 2020 on the practice squad. He was promoted to the active roster for the Thursday night game against the Green Bay Packers after most of the wide receiver core was lost due to COVID testing. He would then remain on the active roster throughout the remainder of the season. Cracraft seemed to have caught the attention of Kyle Shanahan as he continued to be out on the field week after week despite a lack of production. As an exclusive rights free agent, the 49ers were able to bring him back. Look for Cracraft to provide good competition for one of the final spots on the roster due to his ability to play special teams. Jalen Hurd. Since being taken as the number 67 overall in the 2019 draft, Hurd has been an enigma. Hurd has seen only one quarter of one preseason game since the 49ers used a 2018 third-round draft pick on him. At 6'4", 230 pounds, Hurd possesses the big body that Shanahan covets from the third wide receiver position. If healthy, Hurd could provide a great deal of flexibility to the 49ers offense. He spent his first 3 collegiate seasons playing running back at Tennessee before transferring to Baylor and moving to wide receiver. Even with the position change, Hurd still carried the ball 48 times in 12 games with Baylor. Hurd suffered a back injury, though, in the one preseason game against Dallas that would keep him out for the entire 2019 season and prevent him from flying with the team to Miami for the Super Bowl. Hurd would follow that up by suffering a torn ACL in training camp to end his 2020 season. 49ers general manager John Lynch provided an update on Hurd when he spoke with the media shortly after wrapping up the draft. Jalen's rehab is going well, Lynch stated. We're eager to get him back out there because he's been rehabbing away, but we check in regularly. And he's doing a nice job with his rehab, so we're excited about that. I think Jalen's always been a hard worker and has just had some tough luck with that stuff. He'll continue to work hard, and we think he'll be ready to go. On the downside here, Hurd was not on the field at all during the portions of the offseason OTA period that was open to the media, so his status for 2021 is still up in the air. At this point, it'd be safe to say that getting anything out of Hurd should be considered a major plus. Last but not least is Trent Sherfield. Sherfield spent the last 2 seasons as a special teams ace for the Arizona Cardinals, playing 43% of special team snaps in 2019 and 50% in 2020. In addition to his role on special teams, the undrafted free agent out of Vanderbilt has seen limited action at wide receiver. After hauling in 19 catches for 210 yards as a rookie in 2018, Sherfield saw his snaps and productivity dwindle to only 9 receptions for 130 yards in 2019 and 2020 combined. Now for an outlook on 2021. Brandon Aiyuk and Deebo Samuel are the only 2 sure things to make the final roster. Actually, check that. We can add Richie James as well, but his role is still up in the air. With the 49ers likely to keep 6 wide receivers, that would leave only 3 open spots. Mohamed Sanu and Juwan Jennings will be battling for the big-bodied third wide receiver role that Kendrick Bourne held down the last few seasons. Both have performed well throughout the OTA period and look to be ready for making an impression in camp. Hurd could join this battle as well if he can just stay healthy. The last spot on the roster, well, that's going to be decided between Trent Sherfield, Richard Cracraft, and Travis Benjamin. All 3 have the ability to contribute on special teams, and that's always key to that last spot.